Overwatch, armored helos in critical condition, on the offensive to finish it off.
That chopper will rip you to shreds, Dragoon.
Not if I strike it down first by raining hellfire. Commander helos taken out of commission. Overwatch, what's the strike team's sitrep on Ashika?
Paratroopers are storming in the island now, and in pursuit of HVTs that are in possession of valuable intel. We're talking about coordinates to multiple chem research labs where they're producing radioactive WMDs.
Overwatch, this is Strike Team Sierra. I'm at Building 21 engaging hostiles. Primary objective is to eliminate threats in the AO. Once cleared, I'll secure and relay any intel I can find.
Copy. The Dragoon has descended into the Koschei underground bunker doing the exact same job.
Strike Team Zulu reporting in. Bullfrog thinks it's impenetrable. Now let's pry it open and retrieve intel inside. Overwatch, you'll never believe the data I've found. They've commandeered a spaceship that's out of this world.
Our stopping power's out of this world.
Dragoon Toby is gonna bring it.
Welcome to the DMZ, Call of Duty's own version of Escape from Tarkov. Radiation will eventually spread out to engulf the whole area, so you've got limited time to scavenge whatever loot you can find and get to keep a couple of selected items and equipment provided you exfil successfully. Be aware that you'll have to fight through hordes of hostile AI, not to mention enemy players, as you traverse around the different places doing contract missions for cash rewards. Know that Mazrah is a gargantuan-sized map, so players usually drive vehicles to get to their destination faster. Now, one of the most highly contested loot is the weapons case. Starting from Season 3, it has a chance to spawn inside the train safe. Take note that every player in the game will be notified once you start drilling the safe, so expect opposing squads to converge towards the train in an attempt to get that easy steal. To top things off, there's an enemy helo that's constantly defending it, so be sure to wipe it out as well. After some time, the drill finally opens the safe and you can retrieve the weapons case. Sometimes the case can spawn in a riot shield carrying shotgunner boss known as the Pyro, or in a few instances from the Juggernaut boss. And speaking of bosses, residing at the epicenter of the radiation zone is the Chemist. He's usually accompanied by a patrol of Tier 2 soldiers and stands out with his bright yellow hazmat suit. Once you take him out, he drops a unique assault rifle, which back then was a guaranteed way of unlocking the M13B, provided you're able to exfil with it successfully. Finishing contracts and extracting from the DMZ rewards your active operator with a random perk up to a max of 10. So here's the thing, accomplishing faction missions, collecting a plethora of items, and dropping all the bosses can be quite the grind, but there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for all your efforts in the form of passive upgrades. Unlocking all 3 insured weapon slots, for instance, gives quite the advantage for your future deployments. Now, let's quickly talk about environmental changes. Back in Season 3, an encroaching sandstorm has engulfed Mazrah City, obscuring your field of vision, thus creating that interesting change in scenery and style of engagement. Another refreshing scenery is submerging underwater for collecting faction mission items. There was even a point where you had to retrieve a key item inside a sunken ship. So it's quite impressive that these missions offer a wholesome variety of travel exploration options via land, air, and sea. Alright, it's time for us to plunge towards a new map. Now, there are multiple underground bunker entrances that are scattered around Mazrah, all of which will lead us to the Koschei complex, which is designed to be a far more challenging experience. Regardless of the entry point, all standard pathways converge at the chemical plant, which, as you've noticed, is almost pitch black. It is imperative that you secure night vision goggles to effectively take out the enemy AI soldiers in this area, and it's also crucial to keep your head on a swivel whilst being quite agile in the chem plant, as this is where you'll also normally get to first fight the opposing squads. There's a lot of intricate missions requiring you to go around the different areas in Koschei complex, rewarding you with valuable loot, so if you thin the herd early on, you'll have less risk factors to worry about later. From connecting AQ laptops to finding codes using infrared detectors, these are some of the steps required to unlock bunker doors that hold unique weapon parts. There's even one occasion where you have to swim through a flooded section of the barracks area just to procure one of the parts. Collecting all 5 will unlock the super lit Heated Madness weapon skin, which I'm using right now to battle against the Rhinoceros. Once you finally incinerate this absolute tank of a boss, the doors leading to the second floor of the factory wing will open, where the second boss, known as the Sniper, is situated. Quickly grab his key, but keep in mind that he's rigged the place with explosive traps. Now, the secure room contains the weapons case, so take it and make a beeline to the nearest elevator to exfil. For our next map, we have Building 21, where you'll expect high-intensity PvP-centric close quarters combat. Personally, this is the most challenging out of all the DMZ maps, given the heavy resistance forcing you to always be quick on your feet, but it also houses the best loot. Imagine potentially walking away with a $250,000 cash in just a span of around 10 minutes. Surviving is everything, which is why in terms of playstyle, it's not always advisable to go all John Wick and being aggressive, as most squads usually stick together, so flanking them is always a reasonable alternative. But if you're feeling gung-ho, it's recommended to pack some serious firepower when engaging them head-on to bump up your chances of victory. Also, a point of interest is the server room, as hacking the security system unlocks the armory at the top level, which is another location that's gonna be highly contested by enemy players, as this area holds the safe containing the sought-after weapons case. There's a Wheelson mini-boss constantly firing a barrage of bullets, so be sure to shut it down. Now, Velikan is the primary boss, and once you exterminate him, don't forget to snatch his grenade launcher. It's an absolute powerhouse of a weapon capable of wiping out an entire platoon in a matter of seconds. The ability to easily obliterate anything in its path makes this an invaluable addition to your arsenal. So moving to the next DMZ map, we've got Ashika Island, where the Japanese infrastructure and scenery is just mesmerizing. If you ever want to play the role of a sneaky ninja or a fearless samurai in a COD game, this might just be the time and place to do so. You can even set up ambushes from the buildings above or from the waterways below. It's actually a perfect avenue to hone your skills in stealth, just in case you want to mix your playstyle up a bit. At the center of the island lies Tuki Castle, a heavily guarded fortress wherein the bomb maker boss resides at the very top floor. Of course, given that name, anticipate explosives to be set up across all the levels. Without a doubt, making your way through the numerous obstacles isn't gonna be a walk in the park, but it's also important to know that because the bomb maker drops the weapons case, chances are enemy squads will be gunning for you, especially once you are in possession of it. Therefore, it is immensely crucial to waste absolutely no time rushing out of the castle and exfiltrating straight away. Okay, time for the last DMZ map. Set in the Netherlands is a city named Vondel. Stacked with numerous elevated areas, it provides opportunities for getting that high ground advantage, and in case things don't go according to plan, Vondel is also jam-packed with waterways. With the right gear, it gives you such an indomitable edge, striking your opponents from underwater, enabling you to easily wipe out unsuspecting squads. Now, handguns are the only weapon type capable of firing while submerged, so in situations like these where you use the environment to your advantage, oftentimes you'll even make it out unscathed. Speaking of the environment, the fog in Vondel is quite prominent at certain times. The map incorporates a dynamic weather cycle, so in moments where there's low visibility weather, you can swoop in to get the jump on targets, quickly dropping them before they get a chance to react. Just be aware that the fog doesn't completely shroud your presence, so there's still a chance that players with more vigilance can spot you. Now, upon its release, we also got introduced to the tactical amphibious vehicle, giving you an edge to traverse in both land and water. It is also the vehicle used by the main boss in Vondel, called the Bullfrog, which is an armored-up TAV that packs quite a massive health gauge, but just keep shooting at it, and the Bullfrog eventually blows up, spewing out the weapons case for you to nab. Alright, let's get out of Vondel and revisit Mazrah, where it's nighttime now because of the Halloween-themed haunting event. Right off the bat, the first point of interest is the ghost train, which has fully transformed the regular one into this scorching hellish monstrosity. It is worth noting that the last few compartments are booby-trapped, so stay sharp. Once you reach the end section, there will be a safe to loot for quick cash alongside a unique necklace labeled as the heart of the train. So there are 4 new challenging bosses dispersed around the darkened Mazrah. Located in the marshlands is the swamp creature. In the newly uncovered ruins at the oasis lies a sarcophagus that opens up after placing cursed skulls dropped from nearby possessed soldiers, unleashing the pharaoh mummy boss. Also, an alien flying saucer emerges at the southern part of the map, beaming you up with the intent of abduction unless you destroy it in time. Lastly, performing a ritual at the altar of Lilith opens up a portal to hell where you get to face off against the iconic Butcher. Without a doubt, the haunting at Mazrah was definitely the most wholesome and memorable event in DMZ for me. So let's wrap up this video with one last takeaway. Always keep in mind that radiation will eventually succumb in every DMZ map, which means you'll have a limited window to exfil. That being said, it's recommended to plan out what you need to do, allotting some wiggle room for objectives you've set in order to make the most out of your deployment. Looking back, it's crazy how DMZ's been out for a year now. You know, it's been one hell of a journey, a lot of ups and downs, but nevertheless, I'm glad to have experienced it. But now's the time I finally exfil for good, so thanks for watching and peace out, soldiers.